Hello there, it's TimLeBon again, this time talking to you about Stoicism and the psychology of character strengths. So, I'm delighted to be talking to you about this subject because I've written a book on positive psychology, which actually incorporates some ideas about philosophy and Stoicism. So I'm so glad that so many of you seem to be interested in character strengths, which are part of positive psychology. By the way, this book is currently available at a ridiculously cheap price from Amazon on Kindle. So, could it be helpful to you? Well, the VIA Strengths and Character Virtues Project saw 55 top scientists set forth on a 3-year project to review the best writings on virtue and positive human qualities over 2,500 years. And what did they come up with? Well, they found that there were 6 core virtues that appeared in very many societies. And 4 of them were the ones familiar to us from Stoicism, the cardinal virtues: courage, justice, temperance, and wisdom. And they added humanity and transcendence. So let's have a look at what they found. So these are the 6 virtues and the 24 strengths. And we'll see here each of the virtues listed and the strengths that go with the virtues, and an exemplar, which if you want, you can guess who it is and put it on the comment section. See if you can get them all right. So I'm not going to read through all of them, but you'll see that we have virtues of wisdom, courage, humanity, justice, temperance and self-control, and transcendence. If you need a hint on the exemplars, that's from the Bible. And this guy is a psychologist connected with the psychology of meaning. So, how can this be helpful to budding Stoics? Well, I think there are 3 main ways. What we've got here are 24 strengths, not just the virtues. And that can be quite useful. So for instance, supposing for the sake of argument that you're involved in a project which is quite challenging and you're thinking of giving up. Maybe it's even learning about Stoicism. What quality do you need? So Epictetus said, whenever you face a challenge, think of the virtue that you need. Now, the Stoics would say courage in that situation. But actually, isn't it more natural to think of persistence as the quality you need? So I think it can be rather more kind of natural for us if we think about these specific qualities sometimes than the more general virtues. And we can identify our top strengths, and we can use these strengths more often and to help us with challenges. And Martin Seligman tells this lovely story of a student of his who was studying positive psychology. She was very socially intelligent, but she was probably paying the fees for her university studies by working at a supermarket checkout, and she was bored stiff by it. So the idea was, how could she use her strength in her job? And she came up with the idea of setting herself the challenge of making the interaction with her the social highlight of her customers' days. Now, whether or not she achieved this at all isn't the point. The point is that she almost certainly made their experience better. She made her day better, and she did it by using a quality that is a good quality. It's a virtue, and it's something that she excelled in. So think about how you might do that with your top qualities. And as we saw, we have 2 more virtue groups, transcendence and humanity, to add to the big 4 cardinal virtues. So that could make we end up with a supercharged Stoicism with these 2 other virtues to think about. So 1 up for positive psychology at the moment, but I do think that some of the positive psychology literature misses something out, and what it misses is wisdom. And wisdom is such a key element of Stoicism, and Stoicism helps us become wise. So if we unpack that a bit, let's look at these three related ideas. The first one is about weaknesses. So, you know, supposing you're struggling with your relationships or your health, do you want to, do you just need to use your strength a bit more? Well, maybe not. Maybe you need moderation, or maybe you need courage, and maybe that's something you struggle with. So I think in general, we need all the virtues, not just one or two. And we need to think about building our character as a whole, not just taking something we're already quite good at and using it more. Furthermore, positive psychologists have these exercises where you identify your top strengths and you use them more. And this can be quite helpful, as in the example of the checkout person we saw just now. But it's not difficult to think of counterexamples, which are actually quite worrying. I mean, supposing you were in a cockpit, in an airplane, and this message came from the pilot. There's a little bit of a noise, I don't know if you can hear it, but hey, let's be optimistic and ignore it and take off anyway. So the over-optimistic pilot is not good news. And the over-optimistic leader of a country is not necessarily good news either if you're in a crisis. So you can overuse strengths, you can misuse strengths. And Stoics believe that wisdom is actually not just one strength amongst 24, it's actually the foundational strength that informs all the others. So let's think about this. We need wisdom to know what we can control and what we can't control. Well, that's what Stoicism tells us to focus on. We need wisdom to know which quality, which strength, which virtue to use this moment and how to use it. Socrates, who predated the Stoics and informed them, has this dialogue where a general says courage is all about standing firm. And Socrates says, well, what if you're outnumbered? Is that courage to just charge ahead, or is that stupidity? So in other words, it's only courage, true courage, if it's wise. Otherwise it's rashness or folly. So unless it's informed by wisdom, the psychology of strengths is in danger of being a bit superficial and potentially fairly unhelpful. So, although I think in general, other things being equal, the psychology of character strengths is rather useful. So I do recommend you go to www.viacharacter.org and take the free test there. I wonder if Stoicism reaches the parts that other approaches do not reach. So, I hope this material is useful. You can read about it more in my book, Achieve Your Potential with Positive Psychology. I'll see you again soon, I hope. And for now, I'm going to say bye-bye and have a good afternoon.